Cowboy. Nah, but it comes naturally because we were in the cattle business.
Oh, the family.
Yeah, my mom's side of the family was in the cattle business. Northeast Iowa. We grew corn and fed cattle. Yeah, we were just 60 miles from Des Moines.
Okay.
Still farming, but we stopped raising cattle. Matter of fact, when I was in college, high school. Yeah, high school. Was out in Iowa with my granddad and told him he knew none of the other cousins none of the other grandkids wanted in the business because they grew up there. They're like,
okay.
yeah, this. I'm like, I'm a city boy here. I'm going to Catholic high school.
Right.
Even though I spent a lot of summers out there.
Yeah.
Painting barns. None of the cool stuff. I didn't get to get on a horse a lot. Wasn't what I expected, but I still thought that was a direction I wanted to go in. I was contemplating going to Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska, whether it was animal husbandry or some sort of the agricultural department. I was intrigued by it, and fortunately, when my grandfather came back and he said, "Look, we're getting out of the cattle business. My brother's gone.
Yeah,
this is more than I can handle on both sides. We can make really good money taking all these fields that we've been grazing. They're feeding 1,000 head of cattle a year. Wow. So turn all that stuff into corn and soybean production. Number one. Number two, rent it out so we didn't have to own any equipment. And then he'd spend winters in Arizona, summers back in Sumner, Iowa.
Okay.
And it was mailbox money.
Yeah.
So the cowboy dream had gotten shot down. Not to mention my wife. We met senior year in high school, and it was pretty apparent that she was not going to live in a one red light town, that the red light didn't even work. So, yeah, it's going to be a cowboy. No, my dad was a civil engineer.
Oh.
And he was a concrete salesman while I was growing up.
Okay.
And we didn't have a whole lot of classic story, right? We didn't have a whole lot of money. We didn't know that.
Correct. Yep.
Because he was a salesman, they gave him a country club membership, but it was a social membership. When we were on the swim team, we brought our lunch. The other kids went to the snack bar. Mm-hmm. I think I got caught charging up a couple of cheeseburgers one time. I had to pay it back. So
I missed that generation.
Yeah, good Midwestern.
Yes.
Toledo, Ohio. Growing up,
Yep.
It was great to us. I still follow a bunch of people up there. But by the time I got out of college, my dad had already left. There was a recession in '83 that I didn't realize because I was shining shoes at a country club making $250 a week as a kid back then.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. So when they bailed, I didn't really have a home. I wasn't going to Phoenix. He was a general contractor out in Phoenix, and I wasn't taking that route. And my wife, fiance, or girlfriend back then was coming down here to work Big Six accounting. And I'm like, well, hell, Atlanta, that's where you stop on the way to Florida and Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else we got, but I'm going to check it out. And I was here about 6 weeks. Already been hired by Bennigan's restaurant.
Yep.
And we wanted to go to Chicago. So we both thought we'd do our internships down here, pack it up and go to Chicago. I was here 6 weeks, and I called their home office in Dallas, Texas, and said, "You try to move me, I'll quit."
No way.
I fell in love with this place day one.
What year was that?
That was 89.
Okay.
88. Got married in 91. Oh, geez. I like to joke with a friend of mine in my neighborhood. I won't mention particularly, but he grew up in New York, and they always had a guy. Toilet doesn't fit, toilet doesn't work, he called a guy. We just didn't know any different. We fixed everything. Mm-hmm. I remember him getting scaffolding to paint the house. He and the kids were going to do it. He wasn't paying somebody to come in. Cutting grass. I mean, I was told from growing up north, this from Indiana. Yeah. We were shoveling snow in the wintertime and cutting grass in the summer. I had a cottage industry at the age of 12. Yep. I lied about my age to the distribution manager for the Toledo Blade newspaper and got a paper out 2 years before I was eligible. Got caught. And then, because he came by the house to collect the money on my birthday. I was 13. No. You're supposed to be 14. I'd already done it for a year. And he says, we're going to have to take this thing away. And I remember my dad sitting at the table, and I'm just watching them go back and forth. And he's like, oh, you just can't do this. My dad says he missed a day. That's 7 days a week. He said, no, not that I'm aware of. He said, okay. Well, he's got enough side stuff, he'll be okay financially. He's 12, 13. He's going to be fine. I just don't know if after a year being on the sidelines, he's going to want it back. Yeah. And just curious, who's going to deliver the papers? Well, he's not there. And the answer was him, and he kind of knew that. He caught on to what was going on at the table and kind of, just like you, he's nodding his head going, I think we're going to be okay. So I continued my paper out until I was 15.
It's like,
yeah, and it's a little different, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I grew up in, like I said, small Midwestern town. We didn't know what rich people were.
correct.
Down here, the old product of your own success. My wife's a CFO of a big nonprofit, so the kids got to see her work hard.
Yes.
That was the important thing that they understood. They understood that Dad's going to work and work
Correct.
hard, but then Mom did it on top because I was a full commission salesperson. By the time my income justified her not working, the kids they weren't needed. They were
Correct.
in high school,
Yep.
or middle school. So yeah, we did that and kind of got into when they were 16. The need for the car existed because of my wife's schedule and my schedule. We weren't as able to get out and get them to places.
Yep.
But that was okay.
Yeah.
They had jobs. There's ways to get there. But it got harder and harder. So the deal was, if I get a car, you have to have a job.
Oh.
You're not working.
Okay.
If you don't have a job, you don't need a car. That was my theory at
That's
the
fair.
time, and it did pay off for both of them.
Yep.
They ended up both. The oldest one didn't know what to do, and she said, "I don't know what to do." I remember driving home from work and took 2 different ways, 2 different days, and wrote down every restaurant name I could find,
Mm-hmm.
and came home and gave her a list. I said, "Here
It's
you
your
go.
prospect list.
Good luck. Here's your prospect list. Hit it." And she got hired by somebody who wasn't going to pay her until she finished training as a receptionist at a restaurant or a host.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I can't do this stuff. This is crazy." I said, "Well, you got about, I'll give you a couple of weeks to figure it out."
Yeah.
And I got a lead from somebody who was talking to a friend of ours who was in the Chamber of Commerce, and she said, "Go to the salon right up there in Old Milton." They always got these, blonde,
Yeah.
Bopsy twin girls, whatever they call them. So she went. She got excited when I came home and told her. She literally just got in the car and went there. And then she came home, and she's like, "No." I said, "What happened?" She goes, "They're out of business. The door's locked. You can see there's chairs in there. There's nobody there." I mentioned it to my friend. She says, "Oh, they moved across the street." So she went over, met with them, came home, big grin on her face.
Sure enough.
She got the job, starts on Saturday. I remember asking, I said, "How much are they going to pay you?" She goes, I don't know. What's minimum wage?" So I said, like $7. She goes, "Well, that's fine."
Yeah.
She ended up getting 10. So anyways, she worked there through high school, and Maddie, my second one,
Yep.
followed in her footsteps.
Yep.
And they both went through it. Hannah graduated from University of Alabama, nurse practitioner with her master's, got her master's during COVID. Spent 6 years
for
in
her.
children's healthcare, working nights, which is very tough on the human body, really, tell you the truth.
Oh, my
It's just
gosh,
a weird
yeah.
way to mess it. But they work 3 12-hour shifts. That's a full time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can string 7 to 10 days off in between shifts, just the way the schedules work. And she
Yep.
loved to travel.
Good for her.
So that's her story. And then Maddie, she went to Georgia Southern, degree in logistics that she stumbled on, just kind of like all of us. I couldn't spell insurance when I got into business. And she's been very successful. She was with J.B. Hunt Trucking for 3 years.
Yeah.
Struggled a little bit because it's corporate and it's a little different world, but you just keep, I remember telling them both, well, the exception of Hannah as a nurse, but the same thing applies. This isn't you. This isn't the rest of your life.
Correct.
You go to work at J.B. Hunt. We're building a resume here, and you're building experience. You're learning how to interact with people, conflict resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And so she took another position 2 years ago now with Clorox
Oh, yeah.
here in Alpharetta. So
Yeah.
she lives in Dawsonville, but I get to see her. I'm having lunch with her tomorrow. So
That's
she's
awesome.
in the office 3 days a week, and we have lunch pretty much almost once a week when she's down here.
That's invaluable.
And they're grinding it. And she got married back in April last year. It's tough growing up in this environment where you're used to having vacations that are pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
The things that we get and do, the cars that mom and dad drive.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're married, you got a house, and all of a sudden she needed $5,000 worth of car repairs. And they're just finishing paying off their portion of the wedding. So they're experiencing this now. The key is to let them do that.
Correct.
Yes, I could say, look, I put the repairs on my Amex. It's done. It's not going to change my life if I don't collect it. But the discussion last week was, what's the plan? We've got to have a plan to start with. How are we going to accelerate this and everything
Yep.
else? So, yes, we definitely, they all worked.
I love
Both
that.
of them worked. So I went to a private Catholic boys' high school. There was a group of us that were a little mischievous, if you will. All right?
Okay.
We wanted to do what we wanted to do. And we
Okay.
kind of had a pack. Everybody get a job, keep your job, so you're not hitting mom and dad up for money and everything else. Be involved. I played hockey all through high school.
Yeah.
I was on student council. I ran the dances for 2 years. That was a side hustle because there's a little way to make money on the side.
Yeah.
I went to college to get out of the house. And my grades showed it.
Okay.
And my parents were happy for me to go to college and get out of the house too. The running joke is that when they dropped me off, they never put the car in park.
Tuck and roll.
Tuck and roll is exactly what the joke was. So, I just worked my way through. I literally did. I did good enough to stay there.
Yeah. Were you studying business?
And I studied everything.
Oh, okay.
I changed it. I was in accounting, and that lasted about a semester. And then I was business general. And then I had a roommate who was getting a criminal justice degree, and he had some cool classes. I got to go to my homicide class. Whoa, wait a minute, what? So I wound up with a minor in economics and a major in criminal justice.
Okay.
And really majored in graduating. But I worked the whole time. I was running. I was helping to run a nightclub. I had hustles all the time. I worked as a bouncer, parked cars, always working.
That hustle never leaves you, huh?
I hated being poor. I was making money at 12.
Yep.
So I knew what money was, and I never chased money. I chased what money can do.
Yes, as my buddy, money is good for the good money can do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yep.
First job out of college was Bennigan's Restaurants.
Okay.
Went to the management training program because I had a background of 3 years of college, literally working at a nightclub.
Yeah.
It was a supper club. It was fancier than that. I mean, it was, we had Doc Severinsen from the Tonight Show. His band came and played. So we had a great variety. It was a New York guy that had brought it to Dayton.
Okay.
And he helped me get through a lot of new stuff that was really kind of cool. So I figured that was a better path. And
Yep.
Bennigan's would pay right away. We used to say that when I graduated, the definition of broke was my picture in the dictionary. The bill collectors would call you at your last known number, and Sears was chasing me for not a bad credit card. I was making most of the payments when I could.
Yeah.
And I remember the same lady, so they must have assigned us deadbeats to the same person, because she'd be like, Dan, it's Janet. And I was like, oh, shit, Janet's here. I said, Janet, listen, and I mean this in all sincerity. I take the bills at the end of the month and put them in a hat, and I pull them out until the money's gone. You keep hounding me, I'm not going to put you in the hat. I'll just deal with it later, but give me a chance. And she laughed, had said, help me out. This is my job here. My job's to make sure this stuff gets paid. Yeah, I probably owned maybe $400.
Right.
Back then, it was still a good bit of money.
Yep.
So, Bennigan's was the first. Yeah, you're working. So my wife was working Big Six Accounting. She's a CPA out of Ohio State, and she was on the road doing audits. And so she'd get home on Friday, and most of the time I'm working Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Gosh.
And it got to the point where it was only a little over 2 years, and it was like, you know what, we're getting married, we're moving forward. One of us has got to make a change, and I'm pretty sure you got the better job of the two. And so I was paying my car insurance to George Silver's State Farm here in Roswell.
Okay.
And Lawrence knows him well. We kind of
that's how I know Lawrence. State Farm ecosystem, yeah.
And for some reason, I'd always drive over there and pay it. It was easier than going to find a stamp in an envelope. At that age, it was whatever.
Right.
So I went over there and told George, I said, I think I'm getting out of the restaurant business. I said, it's not the long-term play for me. If I stayed, would be regional manager.
Yep.
Because I was a general manager at the time in South Lake Mall. And not to mention driving clear down there. But anyways, he said, well, have you ever considered the insurance business? And I politely said, I'm not sure I spelled insurance right on the check I just wrote you. I don't know anything about it. Y'all take my money, and someday if something happens, you're going to come help me out. And I went home, talked to Colleen about it, and she said, you understand residual income, right? And I didn't. It didn't, you build your book, and as long as your clients are happy and they keep paying you, I think you're in a similar industry or have been.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what the next step was. I said, you know what? I got to try this. Because he saw something in me. In our conversations, very open. Sometimes I'm too much of an open book, but that's just who I am, and I'm not going to hide from it. The reality is, you spend a little bit of time with me, you're going to know just about everything. There's nothing there. So I did. I went to work for him.
You doing like the personal line stuff?
Yes, doing personal lines insurance, a combination with customer service rep, which is where you learn.
Yep.
And then, of course, any new business you bring in, you got paid on it. But it was a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Yep.
I got my license, which was key. And then after a few years with him, realized that my path with State Farm is probably not going to happen. It was
Okay.
just put it simple. There was a big lawsuit in California against discrimination that every State Farm agent in the country looked like me.
Got it.
And I was growing up to look just like those guys.
Yep. The assembly line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So went, long story short again, met somebody, knew somebody who was an independent agent, AGA Insurance, Alpharetta General Agency in Alpharetta. Interviewed, got hired over there, full commission, nothing coming in, no checks. One of my coworkers had a job teaching insurance licensing class on the side.
Yeah.
That was his side hustle, was weekends. So they brought me into that fold. So 2 weekends a month. So basically I worked 3 weeks straight every month, including weekends. So on the weekends I was teaching people how to pass the state exam.
Yep.
And going through it. And my buddy did the personal lines and I did commercial.
Okay.
10 hours Saturday, 10 hours Sunday.
Ooh.
Yeah. But it was paying $900 a month, which was big time.
Oh, yep.
Needed it, had to have it. So I do think that a lot of my success goes back to those years. I only did it for about 2 years because I had to routinely sit and explain insurance to people that didn't know anything about it.
Yep.
You know, I used to say, I'm not here to teach you insurance. I'm here to teach you how to pass the state exam, which is a required 40-hour class. But they kind of wind up hand in hand. But the key is, you know, I don't care if you understand how co-insurance really, really works on a claim, but I need you to know this much about it to get your license. And then you can work your way in. So you kind of dumb it down.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, versus sitting with a potential client. So, yeah, I went through that for 5 years. I was in the Leadership North Fulton class at 2000, which I have, happy to say, more than two hands to count the number of people in our Rotary Club that went through that class with us that I got to know back then.
Yep.
Through that process, and met somebody who was a life and health agent that said, you know, he knew I wasn't real happy. Wasn't getting there.
Yeah.
The development in the office wasn't there. I needed more than a guy with his golf bag on his shoulder saying, win one for the Gipper and I'll see you later. So he introduced me to a firm, Johnson & Bryan, which is no longer around in Atlanta. And the partner was head of the construction division.
Okay.
And so I interviewed with them a couple times, got made an offer,
Yep.
and went to work there. Made partner after 6 years. Worked 2 more years after that, and the recession of 08, 2008 hit, and I was 90% construction, and that was a bad time to be in construction. So my book just started to crank.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And then at that point, I was also in a position where, even though I was a partner, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Driving to Buckhead every day, in order to write the clients that we were required to write, because we had minimums that we could do.
Yep. Yep.
I got clients in Lakeside, Florida, Lakeland, Florida, Valdosta, Savannah. I mean, this client in Valdosta, I'd go see him twice a year for a 45-minute meeting. 4 hours down, 4 hours back. I mean, it was, you know, don't get me wrong, he paid me a lot of money. I mean, it was a good company.
Yep.
But I just like, is this it? Is this what we do?
Yeah.
And then the firm was breaking up. It had already happened.
Oh.
Three of the key players had left, started another firm, kind of got left,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
And these guys knew I was going to go with them, and then
Yep.
that didn't happen. And then, just like everyone happens, I start putting the feelers out. Somebody says, you got to go meet John Schubert. He owns Southern States Insurance. At the time, they were over in Peachtree Corners, which was a really pretty cool area to be in the forum over there.
Yep.
We just hit it off right away.
Huh.
And so I went back to my partners and said, look, you know, I'm not real happy right now. You guys know that. You're not, because my book's dropping, and that's affecting you guys.
Yeah.
I want to make a deal. I want to let this guy buy my book of business, and I want to sell my stock back at X. And so we didn't quite get X, but we came to a conclusion of a good number.
Yeah.
And it wasn't enough to retire, but it took a lot of pressure off.
Huh. Okay.
And that was 17 years ago, March. So
Oh wow. Okay.
coming up right on 17 years. And I drive here every day, and I'm happy as can be, coming and going. They've been amazing. The transition's already happened here. The father has sold the business down to his son, Jim.
Yep.
Jim operates it. Just some of the neatest people. And I've, you know, a long run of 17 years, I don't know where to go. I've already told them. I mean, I've got plans politically to continue on for another 8 years.
Yeah.
That coincides with my plan here, which will put me at 70.
Yep.
The way I line it up. again, these guys are just amazing. We're going to Costa Rica in 3 weeks because of a company trip. So, you know.
Oh, how cool.
I still do work, and I still do grow, you
Yep.
know, most years. But the relationships I've had with the people in here and their wives and the folks that typically go on these trips, and I'm here to stay. And they just re-signed the lease, so you know,
They have to
I'm
carry you
3
out.
miles from home.
Yeah.
It's easy.
What was your introduction to Rotary?
I was when I was working at AGA Insurance. The owner of the company was in the Roswell Rotary Club.
Okay.
No, I take that back. He was in the Alpharetta Club. He wanted me to get in the Roswell Club.
Okay.
So I did. I was in the Roswell Club for maybe 2 years, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Yep.
And I wasn't a good Rotarian because I just went to lunch on Thursdays and glad-handed with people, maybe did a little, didn't do much. And then in that transition, I went to work for Johnson Bryan in Atlanta, and there's no way
Yep.
I was going to leave downtown to come up to Roswell for lunch on a Thursday and go back down. You know, so half a day had to
Correct.
go away, and back then they were pretty stringent on what your hours were. And so I left, and my good friend John Hypes, that I've known since 2000, said, you need to get back into Rotary. I said, look, man, my goal right now is to make partner at Johnson Bryan. That's
Yeah.
my focus.
Yeah.
When I make partner, I'll come back to Rotary. And I made partner, didn't talk much about it, and then I got a phone call, and it was John Hypes. And he says, welcome back to Rotary. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's in the Business Chronicle.
Oops.
And sure enough, I went down. I didn't get it myself, but it was floating around the office. I went, and they'd put it in the Business Chronicle that I got promoted to partner. So that Friday,
Uh-huh.
I walked into the Alpharetta Rotary breakfast at the Presbyterian Church, checked in, looked around, and I was like, I know half of these people. Now, we were only 50 people or 60
Right,
people, but I'm
right.
like, I know half of these people. And kicked off from there. It was.
wild.
I knew that's where I was supposed to be. And you go back, you talk about growing up in the church. The private school I went to, and it wasn't because we had a lot of money. It was just my parents valued education.
Yeah.
My dad went to Notre Dame. My mom went to St. Mary's. They were really, it was very important. And the motto was men for others. And that was instilled in us throughout high school.
Yep.
Part of your senior year, you got to do a project, and then you've got a volunteer part that you need as well. I was tutoring kids in juvenile jail. 2, actually, not a lot of kids, but I went through 2 different kids. And really taught me, and my parents were very philanthropic with what little
Okay.
they had. So, yes, you take care of yourself, but you have an obligation as a good person to do some other things. And that stuck with me. So that Rotary was a perfect fit
Yeah.
to what that was. Digging a ditch in Guatemala. I took my 13-year-old daughter, who's the 30-year-old nurse now, Steve Beecham and his daughter Elise,
Yep.
Mike Hart, who a lot of you guys didn't get to know. Mike was amazing. Kirk Driscoll was on it.
Yep.
A couple other people. And we did a couple different projects. But one of them was Hope for Guatemala, and it was not an orphanage, but it was a place that kids came during the day. And so the younger kids would come first because they had one school. So the older kids went in the morning and the younger kids went in the afternoon, or vice versa, whatever it was. I forget exactly. But when they weren't in school, instead of going home, and this is the most dangerous part of Guatemala City, even the locals that we went to the Rotary Club couldn't believe we were down there.
Oh, wow.
We didn't know that, and actually didn't really care at that point. Because what I was told was, if it's dangerous, but they're killing each other, and the cops just don't do
come
much
after
about
you,
it.
yeah.
If they come after the gringo, the whole world's coming down, so they're not going to mess with you.
Correct.
Sitting there with Elise Beecham and my daughter, taking a break, we were building out a computer room, which we supplied the computers that also got stolen within a short period of time that we put it on there. But anyways, we did some good stuff. Learned about it. The kids go there for a meal a day, a safe place to work on their homework and get a little tutor, but also some recreation.
Yep.
And they were playing dodgeball. And they were laughing, and they were carrying on, and smiles as big as their face.
Yep.
And I looked at Hannah and Elise, and I said, what is wrong with these kids? I'm like, what do you mean they're poor? I go, yeah, but they don't have cell phones. They don't have TV. He just went through a list of things that they don't have. I said, I've never seen that many happy kids at one time in my life. It evolves,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So there can be the, I don't want to say the charity of the moment, but there is some of that where you get into it and it's a big thing and you move on. My focus has been, for at least the last 10 years, developing future leaders.
Oh, okay. So not even a particular cause that we have. It's just
getting as many people exposed to as many things and then pick through it. And we've seen it. We've done it. We've enabled certain people to be presidents over the years intentionally to see, is this person somebody that can go on and do great things in other areas, whether it's in politics, which is very important in the city, leadership. The key is leadership. And you find even when you're president, which I was in 2013 and 14, again, one of the OGs says, hey, just some heads up, you're going to put your board of directors together and somebody on that board is going to let you down and you're going to be surprised. And it happened.
Wow.
It wasn't the end of the world by any means, and it didn't really affect a lot of things, but I was like, I thought more of this person. I thought they were going to take it. And then you got to look at yourself and say, look, was he what I thought he was? And it just didn't work for me.
Yep.
But so you get some introspect into what people are capable of. So mine has literally been, these other things take care of themselves. I love Kirk Driscoll, as you said, long time friend. They do the Vision Warriors dinner Thursday. Each picture shows 16 to 18 Rotarians down there cooking. I mean, they're taking turns cutting the cucumber.
Mm-hmm. We were there Thursday night. It was wild.
So, and that's awesome. I love it. There's camaraderie going on. There's just what you and I are doing right here.
Yeah.
I'll let that happen. I don't feel the need to get into be number 19 to get down there. I don't. That's a great group and run with it. Jackie Janet, all these other people that have embraced it. I've had a lot of those over the years.
Yeah.
And you get passionate about them and you follow them. And then you get to a certain point where you kind of look back. It's kind of like Dad at Christmas, just looking back and going, okay, everybody's having fun. They're all getting along. Yep. I helped make this be what it is.
Yep.
I've done leadership roles with the Rotary District. I've had multiples over the years.
Okay.
Did membership for a year. That was really cool and very insightful into why clubs fail.
Yep.
A lot of times. You go down to rural Georgia and they can't figure out why they can't get farmers to come in at lunch. I said, because we start early.
I was just going to say.
If you did coffee and biscuits at 6:30, you could fill the room. But when you want them all to come to the huddle house at noon, trust me, in the farming business, 10 things have blown up since before noon that you didn't anticipate. And the last thing you're going to do is walk away from a sick cow and go to huddle house for lunch to get your Rotary.
That's life and death still.
Again, evolution, right? So when I got in the club, there was 50 people. Towards the year I was president, we tried to stay under 100 because if we went over 100, we'd compete against Roswell. Back then, everybody wanted Club of the Year.
Oh, got it.
So we kind of controlled it. And I think we're doing a good job of doing exactly the problem a lot of clubs have, which is the elders turn it over. You've got clubs that still do a golf tournament, but now the new people play golf, don't want to play golf, they don't want to work in the tournament, whatever the scenario is.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with what I think is really a good position that we're in. We've had a great string of good leaders.
Yeah.
We've got a great string lined up.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is when we talk about we change leadership every year, which would never fly in the private sector, the business world.
Right.
Your turn to be president. Wait a minute, what? How does that work?
I was answering phones yesterday.
Yeah, right. So I don't have to get the mail.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge in and of itself. So to try to keep the synergy going forward, it just takes one president to say, look, I see things differently. I got 2 kids through college successfully, my wife and I. It was a team effort, without a doubt. Gainfully employed. One's married in a great environment to a great family.
Yep.
My oldest is probably going to get engaged. So I don't know when you're going to put this out on me. I think it's coming quick. That's another success story that's been there. So when I talked about going to work for the big insurance firm in Atlanta before I became partner, I remember walking in the door and looking at the corner offices, because that's where the big swingers were.
Mm-hmm.
They had the corner office, a high-rise like this, cool stuff in their office, decorated cool, a lot of accolades on the counters and everything else, and they weren't there. And then they'd show up a couple hours here, a couple hours there. They had 2 assistants that were taking care of their business, and they get involved on the bigger deals and stuff they needed. They were playing golf. They were traveling. They had, quail farms and beach houses. And I'm not quail farm and beach house rich, but about 2 years ago, I remember walking in here going, I think I'm that guy now. I've got a book of business and residual income that we talk about that I've built. I've got a business, my own business within this business, within this agency in this office.
Yep.
That I wasn't 9 to 5. I mean, I've been toning it down a little bit.
Sure.
But even if it was 9 to 3 or whatever, I didn't need to be here.
Yep.
And then COVID taught us a whole different world, and we don't have time for all that. So when you talk about what's the plan going forward, I want to maintain that. I could retire comfortably right now, but I still enjoy what I do. I need purpose.
Sure.
Right? So
it's critical.
Even if it's a phone call and a bad claim, I get to get involved, or people have gotten issues that they need help with. We problem solve for a living, right? It can be exhausting at times.
Yeah.
But I've got to that point, which has allowed me to look around. It's allowed me some freedom. So the kid part's done.
Yeah.
Wife and I are doing great. She's probably going to retire in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
She's been 31 years as a CFO for a nonprofit in the medical world. So now it's time to find something to do. And it was very similar when I got into politics and city council, community leadership type thing. I would rolled off about 3 different board of directors at the same time. I'd served on probably 8 or 9 over the course of those years.
Yeah.
I had too much time on my hands. My wife recognized it. And she's like, "What are you going to do? You're down here having a glass of wine, reading the paper at 5 o'clock, watching the news. Is this it? You rolling it up here in your early 50s?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what I'm going to do." And so the opportunity came about, and felt again like an opportunity to serve. Not only serve the community, serve the city from that standpoint.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. So I'm finishing up my 3rd term as city council, and I plan to run for mayor next year.
Good for you.
I think I bring a lot of institutional knowledge that can carry forward. Plus, we're in the middle of big projects right now with 3 letters like NHL and North Point Mall and all this other stuff we've been working on. So my plan is run for mayor next year. Hopefully, if God willing and everything else, it works. That'll put me. I'll get sworn in just before I turn 62.
Good for you.
I can do 2 terms, which is plenty, because they'll put me right to 70, and I'll be done at 70. I promise you.
That's awesome.
I've told my employers here, same thing. You got me 10 more years, 11 more years right now from where I'm sitting.
Use me and abuse me, huh?
Right, yeah, let's ride this thing out together. And they reassure me, we're not going anywhere.
That's awesome.
They're just staying. So that's it, dude. I like what I do. I got to stay busy. I'm
love
not
it.
good. I used to say, if you give me a 12-hour job and 24 hours to do it, I probably won't get it done. But if you flip that around, if it's a 12 hours and you give me 6, I'll knock it out.
Yep.
So I need to stay on my toes and stay
awesome.
in the community. And that's what it's about, community.
Yeah.
We see people that move out of the city, friends and neighbors in the neighborhood that say, "Hey, we're going up to Forsyth because taxes are cheaper. And but don't worry, we'll stay in touch." And you're like, "Nah, no, we won't. I'm sorry."
It's the beginning of the end, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're here, I was with you Monday or Sunday night at the neighborhood clubhouse for the Super Bowl party.
Yes.
Or Thursday nights when we have Thursday night football, all the guys go up to the clubhouse, That's the community that I've learned from when I was a kid.
Yes.
Growing up in a neighborhood, we all went to the same Catholic church and a Catholic grade school attached to it, and annual bake sale fundraisers, and you name it. Community's been embedded in me since I was a kid.